Hi guys, Mollusk here, continuing with my initial thoughts on the new Ripples of Fate Masters pre-release, and this time we've got Nellie Cochrane of the Guild, one of the more interesting masters in my personal opinion. Got cards on the table. I am a never-born player primarily, and I don't really know very much about Guild, beyond what I've learned from the ass handings I've been given, so this is really just me talking some shit, and possibly trying to provoke you to contribute your own shit in the comments, as I'd be interested to read the perspectives of people with a bit more intimate experience of the guild, and I'm sure other viewers would too. So young Nellie's backstory seems to be a bit vague. She's a reporter, seems like she got a good scoop on some MNSU misdealings, which has landed her a cushy office job in the state-sponsored toilet paper manufacturing propaganda machine the humans of Malifaux seem to call a newspaper. There's a bit of depth, I guess, as she seems to be styled as a champion of truth and bloodhound of corruption, when it's clear she's corrupt as all shit. And it'll be interesting to see where they go to flesh that out. But anyway, on to the bit that most of us care about. She's very, very good defensively. She's got 6s for defense and willpower, a built-in term on defense, and that doesn't seem to do anything on her card at least. Presumably there's some upgrade that will come into. 11 wounds is, it's pretty okay. Come and bitch to me about a low wound master when your master has 9 wounds. She's got a decent walk of 5 and no charge, which should be telling you something about her combat abilities. So her abilities, she's got revisionist history, which is a bit like super impossible to wound. As the opponent can't shoot the damage, you can. So between a pretty high defense, making it likely to have attacks hitting on negative flips, and a good use for any weak damage cards in your hand, you're pretty much looking at weak damage all the way with her. Although that said, it comes to it's in a bit of conflict, as normally you're trying to make your hand as flush with good cards as possible, and it can be quite draining if you start taking a few hits. So I might be tempted to start throwing attacks her way, beat resources out of her. Although again, that said, with Francisco putting her to defense and willpower 8, that may well just be wasting my AP. So tricksy, so tricksy. So also on the card we've got creative reporting. So at the start of the model's activation you can discard a card. Again, more card discarding. It's going to be tough on your control hand to get evidence +1 condition, and that is what this master is all about. It seems quite similar to Yan Lo's Chi in that respect, evidence being a form of currency for her abilities. Building on that, we've got in plain sight, which means if enemy models are taking interact actions within your 8-inch aura, which is fair, it's a fair distance, you're getting more evidence. The evidence condition ends at the end of the turn, and it seems regardless of how much you've accrued, you only place 1 scheme marker in base contact with yourself. So essentially you're getting a free scheme marker per turn, unless you go crazy and use all the evidence on something. Then we've got Run from the Truth, again an 8-inch aura, so if any model fails an attack action, you can lower your evidence by 1 and push it 4 inches in any direction, and that's really good. So if you've ever seen a gremlin squeal, or the mysterious effigy accelerate a master out of a charge, you know how that can really blunt an enemy's attack. And obviously since it's an aura, she can target herself with this. I guess alternatively you could use it on one of your own models if you wanted to take a swing and then avoid a disengaging strike, or at least get something out of failing. Yeah, I'm sure there's all kinds of things you can do with this. Let's go to the back of her card, and let's start with the tactical actions. So you've got the 0 action for lead. Remember that scheme mark you drop at the end of every turn? As long as you've got any, at least 1 evidence, it looks like you're doing a budget Perdita. And a 6-inch push is a decent distance for getting through severe terrain and off into different parts of the boards that need your attention. Well, let's go to attack actions. You will notice that she doesn't have any engagement range, which is something to bear in mind, as she can't stop enemy models interacting. Not that she really want to most of the time, but it could be annoying in certain circumstances. So so we've got Scathing Review, a casting of 7, which is awesome, with a built-in ram for its trigger. Resist on willpower, so that is very likely to go off on a lot of models. And this puts on a condition that plinks you for 2 damage every time you activate for the rest of the game. But effective models can end the condition by taking an interact action to place a scheme marker, which will give her evidence if she's within 8. And note that the range is 10, so there's a chance that she might not be. So I suspect the damage is secondary to using this as a way to build up your evidence condition on yourself. Propaganda seems to be her main attack. Pretty accurate with the 6 of rams, needs a 6 target to go off. Again resisted by willpower, which I think makes her pretty unusual in guild. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but that might catch some people off guard, I guess. Again, a healthy range of 10. Pretty sucky damage spread for a master. I mean, that's what a beckoner does, I think. But it's all about the triggers on this. Basically, there are 3 triggers and they're all on rams. You've got a built-in ram, so you're going to get one of them for sure. But you can declare multiple triggers so long as you discard evidence. And you only need the 1 ram to do all 3 potentially. They all work after succeeding, so you don't use damage. So let's say you succeed and you lower your evidence by 2. You do a little bit of damage, and then you push the offending model 5 inches into the loving arms of a peacekeeper. You then declare the trigger Angry Mob to make up for the crappy 1 damage you did, to lay on the metal armoured smackdown. After that you trigger Shock, giving the target slow. So now it can't really do fuck all to your peacekeeper. Not sure you'd want to do all 3, every time, but there's a lot of utility in there, and I don't know if I wouldn't consider doing that to my own models and just for the guilt push. Finally, we've got Hot Off the Presses, needs a 7, again resist by willpower. Only range of 8 this time, but you basically take a model and put it next to one of your scheme markers within 8. Get rid of the marker and the other model gets burning. And burning 3 at that, which isn't bad. But the main thing is you've moved one of your opponent's carefully positioned models somewhere it doesn't want to be. So a bit lackluster, I guess, in all for a guild master in terms of damage output, but I think she really is going to fill a hole in terms of movement tricks. Scheme marker generation, it seems, is going to probably come from other models, as I suspect she'll be using the few that she drops to propel her around, but could be wrong, situational. But I think she's really going to shine with just clogging the enemy crew up. It's already difficult enough to match the damage output of guild, and with all her pushes away, encourage marker dropping rather than attacking, slowing in displacement on some of those guild heavy hitters that you always see, and I imagine you're going to be seeing a fair number of them in her crew. As I think I may have said before in another video, the card is really only half the master, and it's there's so much of it the way they play in the upgrades. And so from the little teaser amount that we know, it seems she's got an upgrade called Embedded that allows her to hire up to 4 mercenaries without paying that extra soulstone, and I'm sure things like performers, librarians, hands, a 5 soulstone Big Jake, or any of those bigger 10, 11, 13 soulstone guys to add a bit of flexibility to the otherwise quite famously inflexible guild setup. Misleading headlines allows quite a lot of activation control, it seems. So it sounds like you'll be taking quite a lot of big models with her, so lower model count. And it seems like you can discard a card or the evidence condition to, I don't know what it means by pass an activation. Presumably you say something like, I would activate my Peacekeeper, but I'm not. So you go again. And she's also got Insight, which the Neverborn quite like. Tends to work better if you've got a lot of it flying around, but I guess she's got 3 AP and maybe some of her other models can do this as well, who knows. And then I've just noticed this other one, Delegation, allowing her to heal other models and or give them fast, and that's huge in guild, surely. So in summary, I think this one is one to watch and be a contender for one of the better masters of this new release. And I'm saying that on the basis of never seeing them play, never seeing half the upgrades, and not really knowing a whole lot about the faction. So take that as you will. I think I really like the concept, and I quite like the mundane kind of, 1940s kind of feel to it. Also glad the guild have now got a non-death machine master, even if I think it's just going to make the rest of the crew more death machine to make up for it. So those were my thoughts. I'd be interested to know your own, if you'd care to share them with me or others who would read them. Until next time, take care.